straight in this week, no messing around, back to the serious stuff. I loved doing that dirty Range Rover last time, but come on, I love cleaning a clean car. This time round, Ferrari 512. We'll get a little bit more into the story on this one in a bit. In all honesty, no point in befores because the car is not dirty. This is here for a fine detailing treatment, what I call my bespoke detailing service. As always, starting with the wheels. The engine bay was going to get done on this car, but it wasn't, whereby it needed a serious pressure wash down, the snow foam, all of that. So that would be done later inside with a steamer. So I started with the wheels. A little bit more about this car. Ferrari 512 TR Testarossa. This is a poster on wheels. It was either this or the Countach. Leave a comment below what it was for you. But those side vents and the back end of this car is iconic. I don't care who you are, what you liked growing up, you know what this car is. Proper mega car. One owner from new. Bought in 1999 by the same owner it has today. And in that time, it's done a whopping 5,000 miles. Get your head around that. Now, granted, cars of this era, bit like the Countach, aren't particularly known for their great driving. So, it's a bit of a trophy piece for the owner. It sits in the garage, it looks great, and it's something to prove hard work. Like, they worked hard for this, and they've achieved. Why wouldn't you want this in the garage? All very delicious, I know, and you're probably wondering how the hell on earth does my snow foam look like that? Well, it is midwinter currently here in the UK. Time of recording this video, it was 2 degrees outside. That's a hot wash. Temperature set to about 45 degrees, so really enhances the cleaning ability of chemicals in the winter. How can you replicate this if you're at home? Stick hot water in your buckets. Put some hot water in your snow foam gun. Fully appreciate not everyone has that. I do. I'm going to use it just to aid the cleaning process because of how cold the metal panels get, and also it's nice on my hands. Let's not beat around the bush here. Now, the car itself was covered in snow foam first time round with the pure shampoo from Ultimate Finish, and then agitated with a brush, so around the badges, the grills, bits and pieces like that, which a wash mitt's not going to get into. I've loosened the dirt there. It was then rinsed, then snow foamed again with the pure shampoo. This time it was then washed on with a lamb-tool wash mitt. Still, unless you're using a microfiber towel, and I'll probably argue the case here, the softest way of washing the car. Do they degrade? Yes, it's an actual product. Get over it. It was 15 quid. But in my mind, still the softest way to wash a car. Microfiber towel could rival that, fully appreciate it. But a little bit more about that shampoo. I'll buy products in 5 litres because of how many cars I wash, how often I'm doing it, blah blah blah. 5 litres of that shampoo is 25 quid, thereabouts, 30 quid. It's cheap and it's so well lubricated. It's got great cleaning abilities. It foams well through a gun. It's not a lot of money. There's car shampoos out there from big brands that rival this in terms of its lubricity and suds and things like that. They're double the money. You're looking at 40, 50, 60 quid for 5 litres of shampoo from some brands. I tell you what, you grab a bottle of that and tell me your shampoo better than that. It's like a tenner for a litre. I mean, unbelievable. Next up, the car was then dried. Honestly, no need to clay bar this car. It was dried using a twist loop towel. I'll come on to this in the next video. Hang tight on the old drying towels. I'm trying to really refine down my process. Once that was done, the big boy blowers got out and all of the panel gaps were then dried. So now the car's washed, dry, inside. I'm happy with the level of cleanliness on exterior surfaces, bits and pieces like that. We can now start to get into the detailing process itself. First stage on this car was gain as much access as to areas as possible. Front grille came out, indicators came out, the rear tail light grille came out. As much as I could remove as possible, badges, all of this comes out. It aids the process. It means I can clean things behind where they were. It means that I can remove residue from where years of polishing might have built up from someone else. Not you know, I'm not saying they've done a bad job, but it doesn't allow you to get the detail you can. Once the car was disassembled to the point whereby it aids the detailing process, I'm not repainting this car, just aids the detailing process. All delicate areas were then masked up. This is a low-tack green masking tape. Really dig this, actually. I've always been a fan of a combination of the kamikaze tape and the 3M tape, but I think this might take it for me over the 3M tape. Slightly more cost-effective and just slightly thinner. And a little trick for you, if you're getting into tighter areas, just grab a trim removal tool and it'll just allow you to tuck in the masking tape where you might not be able to get a finger. Badges, things like that. Just a little useful one. But I did bulk buy 3M masking tape, so I'm still going to use it up. But I think I will be transferring full time for the bigger masking onto that green masking tape. That was seriously nice. Like I say, I think it's just got a slightly lower tack and a slightly thinner tape to it. The paintwork itself, although I only done 5,000 miles, it was heavily swirled in every corner and aspect of the car, and it was robbing the paint of clarity, gloss, everything. And the owner said to me, "Joe, the car just looks pink at the moment. I want it back again. It's Rosso Corsa, it should be shining." So the first stage is always inspection. Now we've inspected with the light, let's grab a paint depth gauge and inspect with our depths as well. This one here, it's not a mega expensive paint depth gauge. Costs about 140 quid, I believe, and it Bluetooths to your phone, so you can walk around with your phone, depth gauge to your heart's content, and if needs be you can do a report. Once that was done, a test procedure was done with my cutting compound and pad. As you've just seen, come back with red on the pad. Now, to a lot of people this would scare the life out of them, and they're thinking, oh no, I've just taken the paint off the car. But for me, that was an enjoyable sight. I do a lot of old cars. The oldest car I've gone back to was 1909, a Rolls Royce. And this is sort of the last era of that old school paint whereby there wasn't clear coat on the car. The cars were painted in an old school system whereby the protection was built into the colour. So when you actually compound, you're removing colour. It freaks so many people out. But to me, I know what I'm playing with here. I've done loads and loads of cars like this, especially the old school Ferrari. So I was pretty excited to get the headphones on and just start cutting away. For the tighter areas, a 1-inch pad was then taken to a razor blade to, and then made even smaller. This is quite normal. Don't document it all the time, but what does it allow me to do? It gets into tight areas. And of course, Testarossas are known for those side vents. You can't not polish them. You've got to do it. So custom cutting pads is quite normal in day-to-day detailing for me. Now, with the compounding stage done, it was time to clean out my blowout bucket. But before I did that, I'll just sort of give you an idea of the amount of residue that was coming off the pads. That bucket was cleaned 2 or 3 times during the cutting process, so unbelievable amount of residue coming off. So residue control was massive on this one for me. Once the cutting was done, it was then time to start refining. Now, on these older paints that don't have clear coat and are quite soft and prone to marring and sort of hazing and hologramming, refining is key. A soft yellow pad, this one is the Roops, the slightly newer one, so a slightly flatter pad. That was then used on all of the combinations of machines, along with a refining polish. This one I believe was Maguire's M205, sort of my go-to. Again, loads and loads of residue coming off here. So where you might be able to refine a modern car in 2 hours, you're looking at a good half a day to day's worth of refining on this car just to do it properly. And there's so many areas on this car that come with thin paint and get worn down over time, and mechanics working on it and things like that, whereby you just have to be so damn careful. But this is the side of the job that I enjoy, living on the edge, working out, being that detective. Who's been here before me? Why has someone worked on the car? And then when you get that result, it shines, really does shine. But what I wanted to demonstrate to you was before the refining. So what you're seeing there with the light is after the compounding. That is compounding haze from a DA polisher. And then now you're seeing it after it's been refined. That's now haze free, pure clear finish. Looks really great, crisp. This is what the owner wanted. And then again, why we refine. After, before, after. A lot better. I hope you agree. Now, like I said, this was about detailing. So the light lenses were removed, they were then polished. The bottom one is unpolished, the top one is polished. You can see where the dirt hides on the right hand side behind that big old slatted grille on this car. Again, this is a must. Another detail that must be brought to your attention is the little indicators, synonymous with Ferrari. I mean, these were on the 288 GTO, right through to the Enzos, the LaFerraris. These are, I believe they were pulled out of a really cheap parts bin at the time, but they pop out really easy. There's no clips in them, they just pull out. So why not take them out, refine these down, polish these to within an inch of their life. These are all of the little details that take cars like this to the next level. Proper detailing this is. Now, actually, I was really pleased with how they came out. But one thing I wanted to highlight is, why do I mask? Here you can see sort of the transfer of residue onto the masking tape. This is why we mask up, because if there's some delicate surfaces around the car and you don't want to mar or transfer that paint residue onto, such as rubbers. If I'm going to be rubbing my machine polisher against rubbers and sort of inflicting that residue into the rubber, it could actually damage the rubber. Not only that, it can damage the pad that you're polishing with and affect the levels of cut and the consistency. All of these sort of micro things that I have to manage before coming on to protect the car with polish angels, master seal, before then going on to a good old fashioned wax. I'd kind of fallen out of paint sealants until sort of picking this product up back for the E-Type detail I did. If you've not seen it, I'll link it below. Unbelievable car. Again, solid red, old school paint, beautiful, real good detailing. This thing here is like spreading butter on your car, and it beads like no one's business. This gives you the warmest glow that you can get out of a man-made polymer sealant, I swear. It's not cheap, but we're working on a proper old school supercar. We need the best of the best. This sealant offers that. This is giving me long-term protection on this car. I would then come back and hand wax it later to give it that pop, that glow. But this here, this is old school sealant. This is going to last months and months, even years, how this car sits in the garage. What you've got to let it do is cure 20 minutes before buffing it off. Now, in between buffing that off and then waxing it, I tended a few smaller details, such as clearing up all of the inside lighthouses, buffing off any dust and old bits of grime off the indicator bulbs and the reverse bulbs. Just brighten things up before I come to reassemble. Again, this is what detailing is, proper old school detailing. Now, I'm sure you agree those light lenses looked crazy afterwards, but another thing that will look crazy is that paintwork after a layer of Swissvax. Really old tub, this one, but this is Swissvax Scuderia, so designed for Ferraris. I mean, this is it. You're having your car detailed, then topped with a wax that was designed for Ferraris. Some people are going to tell me it's a gimmick. I don't care. There is something enjoyable about hand waxing a car, getting those wax lines worked into the paintwork, heating the wax up with your hands on an old school car like this. It genuinely makes a wax perform better waxing by hand, and doing an in-depth job like this truly allows me to do that. After parts had gone back on, it was time to take some new ones off, this time the wheels. Now, I noticed when I was outside cleaning that they just didn't come up as I wanted them to for a 5,000 mile set of wheels. A little bit of investigating, and it turns out they were absolutely riddled in overspray from sort of an undercoating that had been applied to the car, just lumps of black undercoat. That was then left to sit and sort of dwell in Auto Glim's intensive tar and glue remover. Then on some of the tighter areas, good old fashioned toothbrush was used to sort of agitate it and just sort of lift that off, and you can see the difference. I mean, you've gone from thick browny black sludge that had just been embedded into them alloys into that bright silver again. One of those details that's transforming the car on this. But this in itself, hours worth of work, killing microfiber cloths, killing gloves, brushes. This was a fair few hours worth of work, but the results truly speak for themselves. And to really seal that in, again, there was no need for ceramic coating on this. I'm not selling you something you don't need here. This isn't going to do a lot of miles. This just needs to be protected. Gloss Parlor sealant was used for that. It really makes things pop. It was also used on the caliper and the hub of the brake disc once they had been sort of degreased, derusted, and they needed to be sealed as well. Again, small details. Now on to the interior. Another major complaint of Ferraris of this era, and especially from the owner. He said, "Joe, the interior parts are sticky." As you can see, if you're driving this car and you touch the wrong thing, it looks like you've been through a police lineup to have your fingerprints taken because you've just murdered someone. Turns out you're just doing well for yourself and you got a Ferrari. But don't worry, I can transform that. There's the plastic afterwards. As you can see, there's no tack when I put my glove on it. It's just clean plastic. Now, granted, you can have these recovered, but it's about £5,000 cost process, whereas I can remove the old one and sort of ceramic coat it up. But the problem with that is, over the years, that coating had just sort of ingrained into the leather in lumps and bits and pieces like that. So the leather now needed deep cleaning as well. Again, this car's done 5,000 miles and I had to deep clean the leather. It's a little bit crazy, but this is what I love. Colour lock, strong leather cleaner, the colour lock brush, and just a good amount of time and patience on this older style leather. What I've done is I've done a bit of masking tape down the centre of the seat so I can show off the transformation of what you think was clean leather to what actually is clean leather. Normally I wouldn't do this, but this is just for demonstrative purposes for the video. Now I'm sure you will agree, that is a real difference. That same cleaning process was completed across the whole interior. Now one thing I have to draw your attention to is the toolbox that comes with this car. Who doesn't need Ferrari branded screwdrivers, pliers and spanners, and of course a spare timing belt? All of this was pulled apart, ensured that it was clean before going back in the car as that final touch to the detail. There you have it, one perfectly clean 512 5,000 mile Testarossa, ready to go back in the garage and look beautiful and be that trophy piece that the owner truly bought it for. Fair play, this is why you work hard in life. Absolutely love it. Enjoyed working on it, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it too. If you have, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, bell, all that nonsense you get from the other YouTubers. Please do it, and I'll keep pushing out these videos. In the meantime, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.